I wanted to read you something really great that I read today. This is about when Marpa first met his disciple Milarepa. So these are famous stories that are told in Vajrayana Buddhist traditions, Tantric Buddhism, about Marpa and his great disciple Milarepa, who became one of the great realized yogis. They were both in India. And Milarepa had been a murderer and a thief before he came and found his teacher Marpa. And because he had this kind of karma, he had to do very, very intense sadhana. But he was up for it. So this is about when Milarepa comes looking for Marpa. He's heard about Marpa and he wants to teach her. So Milarepa came looking for Marpa and found a man plowing his field. So Milarepa, not knowing it was Marpa, asked this person he had found, "Where is this teacher called Marpa? This very famous teacher called Marpa, the great translator." Marpa answered, "I don't know about that famous teacher, that great translator, but there is a family person called Marpa in that house," pointing to his own house, of course. And a family person meaning someone who is a householder, right? Because these Vajrayana traditions, Tantric Buddhist and Indian traditions, are householder traditions. They're not monastic traditions. "If you help me plow this field, I'll go and see if he's available. If you get tired, here is beer that you can drink." So he left one jar of chang, which is a kind of fermented rice drink, or barley drink from Tibet, and the rest of the field to be plowed. Then Marpa went inside the house and never came out. Milarepa plowed the whole field very well and drank the whole jar of beer. This seems very ordinary, very unimportant. But later Marpa said, "That was a great coincidence and very auspicious. Plowing the whole field means that you will be very diligent in your practice and that you will cut through every obstacle. Drinking the whole jar of beer means that you will receive the complete transmission of what I have." And so he took these as omens. So you see, says Dzogchen Ponlop, who's written this book, so you see, two seemingly ordinary and unimportant things can be very important in Tantra. You can never tell what is not important. Only the Vajra master can tell. So these are ways in which teachers sort of poke and test and see if students are ready. And then there's another story about Milarepa's, let's see, who's Gampopa?
That's his student.
Okay, so this is a story about later Milarepa's student Gampopa, who was leaving Milarepa. So leaving meaning not just leaving for a day, but not being studying with him anymore. So he had completed his studies. Some of the key instructions, meaning transmission instructions, are simple, such as when Gampopa was leaving Milarepa. You can read about it in their biographies. It was the last time they would be together, so it was a very sentimental situation. They couldn't let go of each other, so they went on together further and further and further. Finally, Milarepa said, "Okay, now let's stop here. You go on your journey, but before you leave, I have a very profound instruction that I haven't given you before." He pulled his pants down and showed Gampopa his bum and said, "See this?" Milarepa's bum was completely hardened with calluses from sitting in meditation on the rocks. Milarepa said, "That's the last and most profound instruction." So for those of you that are relatively new, this is a tradition where the students and the teacher work very closely together, where students who respond to the little tests and prods appropriately are expected to do a lot of actual practice, meditation and things like that. And where there's a lot of intimacy between the teacher and the student. The teacher, as somebody said of Joachim Trungpa, gets into your business in uncomfortable ways, and where it's not always comfortable, where you might end up, with a few shocks and bumps. The idea is that the teacher is there to help you to dismantle your limitations, your limitations of perception, really. Right? All the different ways in which your limited senses and your limited concepts, especially your limited self-concept, prevent you from having much freedom of expression or much joy or much lightness of being in this world. So that's the work that we do here. This is, of course, Dzogchen Panlop is a contemporary teacher. He lives in Seattle, and he teaches Vajrayana Tantra and Dzogchen. So this is a book that he wrote about a particular teaching poem from the Dzogchen tradition. Anybody have any thoughts about that?
I've got to be more self-disciplined. That's all I gotta say.
Where does discipline come from?
That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Desire.
Natural discipline comes from desire. If we have natural discipline, is it going to be at the same level all the time? No. So what do if we have natural desire and it leads to natural discipline, there's still going to be times when we have to push on through. Right? There's still going to be slog times. And because desire to wake up, desire to really find out, who am I? What's going on here? What is this? That's the desire, in the end. That desire gets covered over by various things, like the sun being covered over by the clouds, right? The sun's still there, but sometimes we can't see it. And so we just have to hunker down and keep going. And certainly my experience with the hunker down times is that if you do that, there's always an unexpected reward at the end. If you manage to maintain your practice and maintain your effort to be open-hearted and humble and all that kind of stuff, if you do that even when you're feeling like just giving it all up or being a jerk or whatever, that at the end of that effort there's some unexpected thing happens. And you learn that as you go along, year after year. You learn that it works that way. Nature teaches you.